In the heart of the 12th century, the mighty Khmer Empire was not at peace. At its center, in the royal city of Yasodarapura, rival families clashed for power, and beyond its borders, enemies gathered like storm clouds. Into this turbulent world, a prince was born. His name was Jayavarman VII. From a young age, he was different, quiet, observant, and deeply intelligent. He spent his days not in courtly games, but in the study of sacred texts and military strategy. Those who knew him saw a rare combination of wisdom and fire, a leader being forged in the crucible of chaos. But the throne would not come to him easily. A great disaster was about to strike, long before he was ready to rule. In the year 1177, a devastating surprise attack shattered the empire's calm. The Cham fleet, a powerful rival kingdom, sailed up the Mekong and Tonle Sap rivers, striking the capital of Angkor from the water, a direction no one had anticipated. The sacred city, the heart of the Khmer world, was overwhelmed. Temples that had stood for generations were set ablaze. Villages fell silent. The capital was captured, and the empire teetered on the brink of collapse. Jayavarman VII was away from Angkor when the invasion occurred. When news of the disaster reached him, he was faced with a choice: flee to safety, or return to a fallen homeland. He chose to return. His spirit was not broken. It was ignited. He began the long, arduous task of taking back his kingdom. He met with loyal nobles, seasoned warriors, and wise monks. He even rallied common villagers, farmers, and fishermen who refused to surrender. In these dark years, the quiet prince transformed into a determined commander, a symbol of hope for a people who had lost everything. For years, Jayavarman VII waged a war of liberation. He moved like a ghost through the countryside, gathering followers and building a rebellion from the ground up. He wasn't just a brave warrior, he was a brilliant strategist. He used his deep knowledge of Cambodia's jungles, rivers, and monsoons to outmaneuver the larger Cham forces. His leadership was magnetic. People didn't just follow his orders. They believed in his vision. He promised them not just victory, but a restoration of their world, a return to glory. Village by village, region by region, the Khmer people rose to join his cause. Finally, in 1181, after 4 long years of relentless fighting and careful diplomacy, Jayavarman VII achieved the impossible. He drove the Cham from Angkor and reclaimed the capital. The city erupted in celebration. A new era had begun, and the prince who had fought for his people was crowned King Jayavarman VII, destined to become one of the greatest rulers in Khmer history. But what truly defined Jayavarman VII wasn't just his victory in war, it was his philosophy of peace. He believed a king's ultimate duty was to ease the suffering of his subjects. Inscriptions carved in stone during his reign reveal his profound sense of responsibility. He felt he must carry the pain of his people, just as a mother carries her child. This wasn't just a poetic idea, it was a blueprint for his entire rule. With the war over, he began the largest public works program the empire had ever seen. He built over 100 rest houses, called dharmasalas, along the major roads, providing food, shelter, and safety for travelers, merchants, and pilgrims. He established 102 hospitals across the kingdom, creating one of the earliest organized healthcare systems in Southeast Asian history. He constructed a vast network of roads, bridges, and causeways, connecting the most remote provinces to the capital and unifying his kingdom. For Jayavarman VII, rebuilding the empire wasn't about projecting power, was about healing a wounded nation and serving its people with unwavering compassion. Once his people were cared for, the king turned his attention to the heavens. He began an unparalleled era of temple construction, creating some of the most iconic and spiritually profound monuments the world has ever known. At the heart of his new capital, Angkor Thom, he built the Bayon temple. Its towers are famously adorned with hundreds of serene, smiling stone faces. Scholars have long debated their meaning. Are they the face of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion? Or are they the face of the king himself, watching over his kingdom with a calm, benevolent gaze? Perhaps they are both. He also built Prohm, a temple dedicated to his mother. He designed it as a sanctuary embraced by nature, and today, its corridors are famously entwined with the massive roots of ancient trees, a testament to time, memory, and love. For his father, he built Preah, a sprawling complex that served as both a temple and a center for spiritual learning. And his new capital, Angkor Thom, was a masterpiece of urban planning, a grand, walled city with monumental gates, designed to represent the harmony of the cosmos. These were not just buildings of stone. They were a message carved for eternity, that compassion, wisdom, and strength could not only win a war, but could also build a civilization. In his final years, Jayavarman VII continued to rule with the same intensity that had defined his life. He expanded the empire's borders to their greatest extent, secured its defenses, and fostered a golden age of culture and art. But his reign was not without its challenges. His ambitious reforms and his devotion to Mahayana Buddhism were questioned by some in the traditional court. The immense cost of his building projects placed a heavy strain on the kingdom's resources. Yet, his legacy was already sealed. When King Jayavarman VII finally passed away, he left behind much more than temples and roads. He left a philosophy of leadership that would echo through the ages. That the true measure of a king is not power or wealth, but compassion and duty to his people. His reign marked the absolute zenith of the Khmer Empire, a brief, brilliant moment of architectural, cultural, and spiritual achievement. Today, the silent, smiling faces of Bayon still stand watch over the jungles of Cambodia, guardians of his memory, reminding us all that power guided by a compassionate heart can truly change the world. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into history, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories.